Well, everyone's heard of energy vampires. That is something that, it's a buzzword that's been going on for at least 20 years, even more. And I'm sure if you're in the spiritual world, you'll know what we mean by energy vampires. But the reason we're bringing it up this week is because it's still something that is rife. It's still something that is going on in the world and part of what we feel is the false matrix or the one
Yeah.
layer of the false matrix. And this can come from many aspects. So it's something, energy vampires can be in the form of friends, family, spiritual gurus, even. It can be the form of the powers that be, that govern us. So many things. What we actually want to express today is that we call it now energy siphoning. And it is coming up because although we know about it's this thing about I understand what an energy vampire is, but are you actually doing anything about it to stop somebody siphoning your own energy? Are you sovereign and the I am, and every belief is from you as a sovereign being? Or are you using a belief system that's not even yours, and therefore all your behaviors, all the addictions, all the habits are not from you, not from your sovereign being, but from other people aiming to control you? See, remember, we said you can never control anyone else. You can give advice, you can send data codes, but you can't control somebody else. It's everything about healing yourself in order to heal others. Okay, and so just a little bit more about this is what happens here is it stops you being your creative self. So when you're not completely sovereign and you're working in with other people's fields and you're tapping in to somebody else's field and not really owning your own field, you're not as creative as you could be. And in fact, what's happening is you're more consuming. How many of us consume lots of lots of people's information, especially in the spiritual world? We've said before, we read books, we watch videos, we do what listen to audios. That is fantastic. We're not saying that you shouldn't do that. That is brilliant. But then are you actually doing the work that enables you to be that sovereign self when they're telling you what to do? Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about this week. How do you feel about this, Rod, to start off with?
Well, it's a big deal, but let's make
Mm.
a scenario so that perhaps this is more
Yes.
practical for people. Let's say that you or I, Julie, have created a piece of work,
Mm.
written something, written a book, written a symphony, who cares? Written something, and you're really pleased with it, and you
Yeah.
feel you've created something worthwhile and valuable, and you show it to someone who you think might like it. And that person reads it, listens to it, does whatever there is to do to that piece of creative work, and then comes back to you and, in a kind way,
Mm.
manages to sow seeds of doubt that perhaps it's not as good as you think.
Mm.
And they would have done it this way. Maybe just a few tweaks here would just make it better. And that ends with a hug and how lovely that you've done this, but carry on.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Could do better
Could
is
do
my
better. That lovely,
it's
lovely
my
school report thing could do
exactly.
better.
Yeah.
So that is an everyday example of an energy vampire. And I know that energy vampire is a strong term.
Mm.
It's a deeply unpleasant term, isn't it?
It is.
And
Yeah.
it often doesn't come from a place of evil. It
No,
does
not at
come from the
all.
false matrix.
Yeah.
And it
Hmm.
comes from people who we interact with who have reasons to need to be superior.
Mm.
Now, that is their personal issue, not mine or yours.
Hmm.
My issue, if I had produced that piece of creative writing, is to take it back and stand up for it. Because if that's something I have created, that is something that is me.
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
do not, it's not that I don't need help. It's that I don't need to be patronized.
Yeah.
I don't need to be squashed for it. And I don't need to apologize for it. The likelihood with that scenario is that I would take that piece of creative work and put it in a drawer and be
Yeah,
deflated
exactly.
by it.
Yeah, that nobody would be listening to it, or nobody
Absolutely.
would read it, or nobody
Yeah,
would understand. Yeah.
exactly. It's the very, very simplest thing. And I think we all go through it, Julie, that we are born and we start to make mistakes straight away. And we're
Mm,
told we've
mm,
made mistakes straight away. Then we go to school and we're
mm,
told we're rubbish quite often. I came out of school feeling like a complete failure.
mhm,
I wasn't a complete failure, but I honestly believed I was. And maybe for the next 20, 30 years of my life, I worked against being a failure.
mm, mm.
And it was really maybe 20 years ago when I thought, what?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
am not in any way inadequate. I am exactly who I'm meant to be. I can stand on my own truth with great pride and be honest about who I am and say what I believe and feel. And you don't have the right to take that from me. So my energy comes from the original matrix, the organic matrix,
Yeah.
positive matrix. And the energy from the person who wants to put you down and keep you in your place comes from the false matrix. And it's very easy to feel because you feel deflated, you feel heavy, you feel miserable, you
Yes.
feel inadequate. All your fears come back. So that's simply one example of how an energy vampire can get you. It can become much more severe. There can be people out there with real malevolent
Absolutely.
wishes
Yes.
who can destroy you.
Yeah.
You know, I have fought one energy vampire in my life
Yes.
through a work scenario, two in fact, I would say now, and I recognize them for what they are, and I don't allow them to, which I think, Julie, takes us to where we're at with this. We
Mm.
all are subject to these energy drains or people who suppress
Yes,
our
we
energy
are. Mm.
or who take our energy for themselves quite often.
Yes. Yes. To
Because
help
if we
their
go,
energy.
yeah,
Mm.
if you go back to that piece of creative writing that you showed to someone who professed to
Mm.
be interested, they will have sucked that all up
Mm.
and probably taken something from it before giving it back and patronizing you and putting you down. So they've taken your energy and they've squashed yours in the process.
Mm.
So you've had a double dose of energy
Yeah.
depletion. You know, your
And
battery's really running low.
yeah.
And
And
it's
then the next thing you hear, they've used that information.
hello.
There we go. They're using it as
Absolutely.
their own. There's two
Absolutely.
forms. There's people who don't know
Yeah.
that they're doing it. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. Usually family and friends.
Yeah.
But there are those that absolutely know through ego. They just think about this. They
Yeah.
haven't healed. They haven't
Yeah.
done any work. They haven't healed their ego. Lots of ego going on here. And they're the ones who, after putting you down, will actually be thinking about that, as Rob said. Next thing you know, definitely there we are. There's something coming up, and they're
Yeah.
using your information,
Yeah.
your creativity. They're not able, because they're not healed. They're not able to use their own creativity. Those are the ones that are siphoning others' information because they've got to, because they don't know how to use their own sovereign being creativity,
Yeah.
energy, creativity. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And it's not for us to heal them.
No,
Yeah.
not at
If
all.
they
No.
ask for it, if they
Mm,
recognize this in
mm.
themselves and they ask for it, absolutely, these are
Yeah,
amazing people to work with.
yeah. Mm,
It is for us, all of us as individuals, to recognize our own truth. So
mm.
it's the whole thing of going within and understanding who you are and being true to you and knowing that you were born perfect into this world
Yes. Hmm.
and nobody has any right to take your energy from you
Mm.
in any which way. And you can
Yeah.
only preserve yourself really by standing in your own light.
Yes.
That
And what
said,
and what does
yeah,
that mean, Rob? Standing in your own light.
standing in your
It's
own, I mean,
not just saying
yeah,
it. It's not just
go on.
saying I'm
Yeah,
standing in my own light.
yeah,
It's about really owning that, really going in to understand and be discerning about what other people
yeah,
are doing. I honestly wish we could teach children this, and I think there's a lot of that going on now. It's so much better now than it ever was. Rob, you talked about school earlier.
yeah.
I completely
Mhm.
agree. I absolutely hated school, could not wait to get out. And it was very suppressing. This is what happens. We said before we started this recording, it's a continual thing, isn't it? You're continually battered down
Yeah,
until you have no confidence. So we talk about people not having confidence. You are not born without confidence. You are born with confidence. What happens is it just gets drained, drummed
Mm.
out of us. So there we go. We're allowing somebody to siphon our energy in terms of taking away our part of sovereign self, part of that that's confidence, for instance. And then we'll just continue with that saying, oh, I'm not a confident person. I doubt myself. All of these things to stop, to create the stuckness in us, to create this suppression, stuckness in our creativity of what we want, and also what happens there in the body. So if we're working on draining the mental capacity, working on draining the emotional capacity, it also affects our body. So obviously, there are things like when an immune system attacks you, when your own immune system attacks you, do we actually think that's the right thing? Does that feel that that is a sovereign self, that's something that's a natural, organic thing to do? I don't think so. So here we're just going to say, you go to your doctors to sort this out, but for entertainment purposes, can you see how what's happening when the immune system's attacking you? It's because you're not sovereign, because you've got so many, the energy is siphoning from you and you're not doing the work. And we're going to talk about at the end what to do, some of the things you can do, but you're not doing the work to create this, your own being, who you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but school was something, you definitely when it's drummed into you that if you do not do the work that they've told you to do, if you're not academic enough, if you're not passing your qualifications, of which I don't know about you, Rob, but I got absolutely no qualifications at school. Things went array. It's not that I didn't try, it's not that I didn't do well early on, but just in the exams that I had, something was happening. Had no qualifications from school. I did well. I had to do things to prove myself. So very much
Mm.
like you, Rob, I had to continually, I wanted to prove that I wasn't an idiot. I had to
Yeah.
prove that my life wouldn't go into doom and gloom and was okay myself. Ended up doing my degree, a bit of 2-1 honours degree. After a while, it took a few years, but did lots of qualifications up to then. I've never stopped doing qualifications since, of some degree, of some area of interest, anything that's interesting me. But I do not know anyone who didn't do well at school who hasn't surpassed themselves as they've grown up. So where are we
Mm.
getting? Where's the truth in telling a child, drumming into a child who then becomes an adult, that you're not doing very well, that you're not very good, that you're not confident, that you can't do this work? I just don't get it sometimes, Rob.
No,
Even
it,
if
it
it comes
is.
from family and friends, you don't get
Yeah.
it actually. But
Yeah.
I think it's the conditioning, isn't it? It just seems to be very much a conditioning that everybody is like it. And so this, consuming
Yeah.
all this energy of that we're not doing very well, that we need to be suppressed, that we can't be creative. Oh, it's a strange false matrix, is this, isn't it?
It is indeed. And if you can recognize that it comes from insecurity in others,
Yes,
not
exactly.
in you.
Yes.
So they can control you and assert dominance over you by passing their insecurity to you and causing
Mm,
you to question
mm,
everything about
yeah.
yourself. So apart from the horrors of school, I went to a sporting school, which
Uh,
was frankly the biggest mistake possible because that is not my forte.
yes,
Never was,
yes.
never will be. But if you didn't measure on the sports field, you just didn't measure.
Mm,
So I
mm.
had to find, even at school, other ways to achieve, which is why I
Yes.
ended up in theatre clubs and things like that,
Mm,
which defined my career going forward. And I've had the most amazing, happy career I could
exactly.
have hoped for.
Mm,
So for all school's attempts to squash me, didn't work.
mm.
And if
Mm.
I look at school friends who were utter failures along with me at school, global presidents of huge companies, massively
Exactly.
successful people,
Mm,
massively
mm.
successful and nice people
Yes,
by and
yes.
large. So yeah, it's a question of never allowing this to defeat you. And
Yeah.
that's so much easier said than done. Because just as you fail at school, that report card goes into your house and your parents look at the marks and
Mm.
that you failed them. You
Mm,
think you
mm.
failed them. And they will put on a facade of, well, you're not doing well. You need to pull your socks up, little Johnny, and do this and do that. So the cycle of failure just continues,
It does, yeah.
and you go out into the workplace when you're eventually ready for it, just wondering how you're going to cope. And will you be able to do it? Will you be able to earn enough without being always put down and squashed and this cycle of being inadequate? It's the most
And,
dreadful thing. So many humans have this lifelong inadequacy in them because of their beginnings.
and then look at
Yeah,
work. Yeah, look at what
yeah,
happens when we go to work, the
just
competition,
yeah,
the again, energy siphoning, it's a big ego kick. It can
yeah,
be political in the sense of, everybody wanting to be on, on top, everybody wanting to climb the ladder. And what happens is, instead of just somebody being in their own sovereignty, wanting to climb the ladder, just being themselves, they want to put other people down. And I found, could find this at work,
yeah,
with some of the places that I worked in. Whatever happened at school, it just carries on and carries on, completely consuming, completely
indeed.
carried on
Yeah,
into the work mode where people, you end up working more hours than you paid for to try and keep up with everything. We had this thing where there wasn't enough time to do things when we know now there is no time. Everything was, you got paid by the hour, and yet most people end up working more than the hours they get paid for. You could never, they would give you more and more. If you were somebody who could do something quickly, they would just give you more, and you'd end up doing the same thing as 10 people, trying to do the same amount of work as 10 people could do. So yeah, even in the mainstream workplaces, there's this competition going on, and you get all the information. You do go on courses. And is it being, is it then, are you working on yourself after these courses? People usually just end up, thinking about the course and then it goes away.
mm,
So afterwards, you're not doing anything about the course you've been on to help you with NLP, etc. Nothing like that. It just goes back into the old ways. And of course, a lot of this is deemed from, it comes down from the top, doesn't it? From
yeah,
the sort of, there's definitely a hierarchy, isn't there, in work, which there never should be. We always talk about, in our world, there's never a hierarchy. I can't say that I'm better than somebody else.
mm,
I love, if I see somebody doing some work and it's a meditation where you could feel that it's something, oh, I've done this before many a time. No, I'll never feel that, because there's always something you can glean from somebody. And I think that's the problem, is we don't tend to do that. We think we know it all, or we don't need to know some information, and we do it from an ego rather than listening to our own intuition. And we miss various bits of information
yeah,
that will help us go into heart space, go within. The simplest things, the simplest of somebody just new starting out, somebody who's maybe 16 telling us how to do a meditation. I will still listen to that, because it feels like I've got those data codes, that they're sharing a way of me being my true self, my sovereign self. But
yeah,
we tend to just be this ego-minded, I know it all, and because I've done it for the last 40 years, I'm going to tell you what I did 40 years ago.
indeed.
Sometimes it can be all right, but usually it needs to be updated, doesn't it, Rob?
It does. I think that one of the scariest aspects of being this lifelong victim, because it is victim
Yeah,
situation, is you take it into your relationships.
you do.
And
Yes,
so
yes.
where your life should matter most in the close bonds you form with other humans, you end up in a kind of a power play. A lot of
Mm,
people will take into their lives someone who suppresses their energy
yeah.
because that's what they're used to, or will take someone weaker because they can suppress their energy. And it's
Mm,
a sort of a way of balancing their own thinking and system. This isn't done intentionally. I don't mean that at all.
mm,
Every relationship is a negotiation, as we all know.
yes.
If you
Yes.
get to our age, you certainly have done a lot of them. But
Yes.
it's it's insidious because it sits in your mind always, and your matrix feeds you incorrect information. And so many relationships that we see go awry are because the one is putting the other down. Or there's not support.
Mm.
There's not, the love is not genuine
Yeah.
or has been skewed by the false matrix. So when your personal life is called into question with things like this, and you feel inadequate at home and you feel inadequate at work, you get sick.
Mm.
You just
Mm.
get sick.
Yes, you
And
do.
you can blame it on public transport full of germs. You can blame it on anything you want, but ultimately your energy is so depleted that you cannot withstand things. And it's really, really, really common. And I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody out there could put their hand up and say they're immune from some degree of this.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly not. Good Lord.
No, it's
Yeah.
happened. That's why we've brought it
I'd
up.
love to be. I'm not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
happened to me.
So
Yeah.
the work is continual. It's not something that you or I can say to a client, well, we'll sort that out. We'll fix that energy fragment there and we'll polish you back together. Because tomorrow you'll meet someone else who may play this game.
Mm, mm,
You're being ruled by people who play this game on a mega scale.
mm,
But you and I, ordinary people, are just playing this game on our day-to-day level and trying to fulfill our lives in the best way possible. And these are the challenges that continually stop us and scupper us living in our truth.
mm.
So it doesn't end this. This is something that, as
Yes.
an aware, awake person, for want of a better word, you are continually trying to recalibrate yourself, continually reminding yourself that you are perfect.
I always
And
say
yeah,
it's like cleaning your teeth.
yeah,
Till the end of days,
good analogy.
even
Yeah,
if you have false teeth, anything, till the end of your days, do you just go to your dentist once a year? It used to be 6 months, once a year, and then just understand that you have to clean your teeth, but do nothing about it for until you go next year.
mm-hmm.
No, you actually take action. You clean your teeth every day, twice a day, and that you need to do that. It's not, oh, I'm just going to do it once and that's it. And cleaning your own energy field, looking after your own energy field is just like doing those things, having a shower every day, bath every day, cleaning your teeth, brushing your hair, whatever you need
Yeah,
to do. It is just like that. Your energy field is just part of that. It became, I don't, it's like both of us, Rob. It's just part of your daily routine. And
yeah,
I've done, with on my membership with my clients, I made sure they did it as part of a routine. I even had a checklist of what to do. So here we are. Let's
yeah.
talk about, right, what can you do? Let's talk about some of the very
How do you
basic
remedy
things
this?
to
Yeah,
sort this out. Because again, we're talking about understanding it. We're talking about how to recognize it. Well, what do we do about it?
yeah. Visualization is really useful
Yes,
in
yeah.
this. And visualization equals imagination to me.
Mm,
People often
mm.
say to me, I'm just imagining this. And I say back, yeah,
Good.
that's exactly what I want you to do.
Yes,
Exactly the point, because the imagination is in fact real.
yes, yes,
So I was always taught way back when to cut cords.
yes. It's a good one.
And this is perfectly valid. It still works.
Yes.
If you are having an issue with a person or situation,
Mm,
perhaps, where you feel that your energy is being abused, then you visualize cords between you and that source, and you visualize those cords being cut. So you release them,
hmm.
return it back to that person, like rubber bands, they get twang back
Yeah.
to where they came from. I prefer to work with what you and I call energy fragments.
Yes. Hmm.
So if I'm with a client, for example, I will go to my heart center, I will get them into their heart center,
Hmm.
and I will ask them then to recall fragments of their energy that they have left in other places and return to them. And in the same way, I ask them to exchange. So any bits of energy stuck to them, I ask them to return,
Mm, yes.
because this is a two-way system. And when you are continually oppressed and your energy is put down, it sticks to you like
Yes,
glue.
that's right. It does.
You have to kind of peel that
Sticky.
glue off and
Sticky.
return it
Mm,
where it came from.
mm.
And the person who receives that energy back has to deal with it themselves, not you.
Yes.
You are not
Yes.
responsible for that.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
don't do it with any poor intent, you do it with love. but you're performing an act of self-preservation. And it really helps to visualize that. I've seen clients break down at that point
Yeah. Yeah.
because it can be incredibly emotional when you release those burdens back and you realize what you've been holding on to. It's quite
Yeah.
extraordinary. And then when you reclaim your energy from where it doesn't belong and where you left it,
Yes.
where it
Yeah.
was stolen from you,
Mm.
is incredibly empowering.
Mm. Mm.
What about you? Have you got any techniques that you use?
Yeah, if basically if somebody can't, if they'll say to themselves, "Well, I can't visualize. I'm not somebody who can
Hmm.
imagine anything," which again seems a bit strange to be doing that. But if you are somebody like that, just state the words, write these down and state the words. Just say to yourself, anywhere and everywhere that I have consumed somebody else's energy that is not good for me, that is doing me no good whatsoever, please just release that energy right now and
Yeah.
sit there. Don't just go release the energy, right? That's done, I'm gone. Just sit there and have the understanding, the all knowing
Yeah.
that that has been done. This is something you can do as part of your routine. After you've cleaned your teeth, do it as part of your routine. Just sit there and think, I'm going to clear all that energy that's not mine. And then equally, bring anything back that is yours. So anywhere that somebody has siphoned your own energy, where you've had energy leaks through your field, once again, write it down and just state something like these words. You can put it in your own words, but anywhere and everywhere, somebody has siphoned my energy away from them. Somebody has drained my energy. Bring it all back to me. Just bring all my own energy back to me. And as Rob said, you can then decide to, anything with where somebody has given your energy, sorry, given their energy to you, give it back to them. Doesn't matter, they need to deal with it with their consciousness. We usually say with consciousness attached in access, in access consciousness. Send it back to them with consciousness attached. You do not have to do anything to help, to help them. They've got to learn for themselves. Each and every one of us has got to learn for themselves, and we're all here to understand what everybody else is doing, so you can still learn off other people. And that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. And so, yeah, you can just state those words. It literally takes 5 minutes or so. And I like to, again, you can say about cutting cords, or these days we can think about unplugging ourselves from somebody else's
Yeah.
energy, just unplugging. And before you think, if it's a family member, for instance, that will stop them seeing you all together, all you're doing is unplugging from that specific negative energy, from that specific area of energy. It's not stopping you being a friend if you want to still be a friend, not stopping you being talking to a family member. It's just stopping that energy to protect. That's your self-preservation, so that you're then allowing yourself to stand. That's when you can then say, I stand in my own power. And you can either get a knowing or you can see for yourself, visualize, is all my energy now mine? And have I got anybody else's energy in myself? And if it's still yes, do the process again. Just do it until you're absolutely sure at that one specific moment in time, that present moment, that the energy is all yours.
Yeah.
Knowing that there'll be tiny bits of energy that is something that we can't get rid of, things like money, the fact that we've got to go into the energy grids of money that are, consistent with going into banks, which are not necessarily great for us. But we've got to do things like that. But knowing that anything that you can get rid of right now that allows you more creativity, that allows you to stop consuming everything or allow somebody else to consume your energy. This is how you can work with it. Very, very simply, is just you controlling yourself, your own energy. What you can finally do when you've decided that, yes, do you know what? I've got as much energy as I need to now. You can just visualize your energy field closing stopping any, we call it leaks or holes in the energy field. So you can visualize yourself closing those energy leaks so that your energy field is whole. So it's whole for you and nobody is there to siphon it. So after that, remember about the preventative side. You are to stand in your power. You can be the one to say, I'm not letting anybody else siphon my energy. I'm not going to let anyone else drain my energy. My energy is my own. My creativity is my own. All of these things that, if you want to call them affirmations, but they have to be the all knowing. They have to be the I am, the knowing that you are this person. You are your individual self, but knowing that you're also part of the greater whole. Your fragment is part of the greater whole and you are already that part of the whole. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that needs fixing. You are just in a version of yourself that needs fixing if you feel something isn't right and you need fixing.
Yeah.
After that,
I
Rob.
think it's important to say as well, though, Julie, that yeah, we can do that every day for ourselves.
Mm.
So I love your analogy of like brushing your teeth.
Mm.
So you could do this while you're brushing your teeth, and as you're removing
Yes.
that plaque, you can remove the energetic plaque
Yes.
that is
Yes.
serving you no purpose.
Mm.
Great. Sometimes this is quite hard,
Oh,
and
yes. Who
sometimes
said it's easy?
the attack is
Mm.
quite severe.
Yes.
And then I would
Yes.
recommend trying to work with someone. You and I
Absolutely.
both do it, and plenty of other
Yeah.
people do it too. If you find it too hard to do, or if you're really, really experiencing the heaviness of a psychic attack,
Mm.
an energy attack, maybe give us a call or give someone else a call
Yeah.
and do some work with them because it might just help you find your own way. And once you're on your own way, you're grand. You can take care of yourself. That's always our goal, is to
Yes.
see people go away and take care of
Do it
themselves.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, don't allow yourself to just
No.
be consumed in the energy because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not just about one thing. If there's lots of areas that you've allowed over the years, and I say allow because it's that invisible force in a way. People can invisibly do it. That kind of the invisible side of somebody else, their ego that you think is a nice ego. It's not necessarily because it's just other people wanting the control. So there can be you can have years and years of it building up. And we also want to say it can be built up from ancestry as well. And so
Yeah.
that can be a difficult thing for you to look at because as well as your own energy, I always feel we are here right at this moment in time to heal our ancestral energy as well. And that will help. That's a way of helping your family. That's a way of helping others. And the ancestry runs from those around us and those that have, long gone, way back into the ancestry. So, and again, Rob and I are here. That's what our job is. That's
Yeah.
how we work with the guides. So when I say job, that's our purpose. That's part of our purpose is to work with people to do the clearing. When we are clear, we can be more co-creative with our guide and we'll be able to, it helps you to discern more what's good and bad as well. Because if you imagine your field is a lot clearer, then you can discern more. You can feel something that's heavy. You can feel something that feels a little bit darker than it should
Mm.
be. And then you can start to question that yourself. So yeah, it really helps. It really pays to work with somebody if you are struggling in quite a big way, knowing that things are draining you in a big way.
Yeah.
So yeah, please come and chat to one of us. We do individual work. We can definitely do this through other courses and through memberships as well. So through a
Yeah.
membership as
But
well.
don't sit with it. Do something
Yeah,
about it
yeah,
because it will cause physical illness
it will. Yeah.
if you don't deal with it.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's can be quite joyful to fix.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
And remember things like if you feel like this and you have children, your children will take this on through the DNA
Hmm.
and you don't want it to. So that's not being morbid or anything and doom and gloom. But yeah, when you fix this, we said about ancestry, but the lineage, yeah, where you can heal
Yeah.
this to help your children because okay, of course the children are taking on all this ancestral work, all this ancestry, problem, all these problems that we're bringing into us, and then having the real problem. It's building up and building up. So the consumption isn't just in one person, it's coming down the line. So yeah, heal yourself and you heal your family. Amazing,
Absolutely.
amazing work to do.
Absolutely. And let's not even go into the multidimensional.
Yes, we that's a bit. We've
That's
done
a
that
whole
before.
other
We've
kettle
done that before.
fish
Yeah,
there.
this
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
consumption in
Yeah.
your human body, in this
Yeah.
body. Yeah, so many things to look at here. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, Rob. I think
I think
that's
we should call that
on that
quits.
note. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll say bye for now. See you
Take care.
next week.